The third edition of Talkin Tar Heels starts right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Talkin Tar Heels. We've got another exciting episode for you guys today. As today, we're going to be breaking down the transfer portal football edition. We're going to be looking at Carolina's losses in the transfer portal as well as their additions. And then we will grade the overall job done by the staff in terms of bringing in new players and replacing the ones that they did in fact lose. So first, we take a look at the losses. There's four key losses that I looked at and I said these guys are gonna hurt it's gonna hurt not having them. Those guys are running back Elijah Green, offensive tackle Diego Pounds, cornerback Legion Cavazos, and then tight end Kamari Morales. To start with Elijah Green, this loss is going to affect the running back depth as he was going to be the primary backup to Amarian Hampton this year. For Diego Pounds, the O-line is obviously going to be affected by him leaving. He was a starting offensive tackle in his time with the Tar Heels. Obviously, losing at starting tackle really hurts. And then cornerback Legion Cavazos, he was also a starter over the course of his time with the Tar Heels. Here, he was also a leader. He was a senior, and losing him will most affect the depth and leadership in this cornerback room and overall in the secondary as well. Then we have tight end Kamari Morales, whose loss will most affect the tight end depth. Bryson Nesbitt was the team's primary tight end, but Morales was a big time leader. He was definitely one of the elder statesmen in this tight end slash wide receiver room. So losing him will affect the leadership, the depth of that tight end room. Carolina lost a total of 22 transfers overall in this portal. Some had less impact than others. Tayon Holloway is one. It was a bright young corner Carolina had coming up. They lost him as well. 18 of the 22 transfers lost were scholarship players. The losses overall, they may look significant up front, but let me tell you, most of the players lost were replaced by transfers that Carolina was able to bring in, or at least the significant ones anyway. So overall, there was no real piece that you look at and say, man, losing him is really going to hurt. And that is good news for the Tar Heels. When we now turn to the key additions, the first person you got to look at is quarterback Max Johnson, who Carolina brought in from Texas A&M. They brought him in to give Carolina a quarterback battle. They brought him in to be a veteran piece. He's got experience. He's got more experience than Connor Harrell, and they brought him. He may not be as talented as Harrell, but they brought him in to compete with Harrell as that veteran presence in the quarterback room. And even if he doesn't win the battle, he will be a very valuable piece to this Carolina team. So that was the first key addition that Carolina brought in. Carolina also completely remade their offensive line. So all of these guys that I'm about to mention were key additions, as Carolina did lose four of their five starters along that offensive line, but they replaced them with the likes of Howard Sampson from North Texas, Austin Blask from Georgia, Zach Greenberg, from Division III Muhlenberg, and Ja'Kiah Leftwich from Georgia Tech. At least two of these players should start on the offensive line, and there is a scenario, considering that none of them play overlapping positions, where all of them do start, since Carolina did lose four starters on their offensive line. Carolina also brought in a safety, who was a key addition out of NC State. Here, Jakeen Harris. Harris already projects as a starter on the North Carolina back line, an area that Carolina needs. Really, they need pieces, they need guys to step up in order for them to even think about contending in the ACC. Carolina has given up a lot of big plays through the air, and that's an area where Harris can definitely help limit those big plays. And that's an area that teams have really exposed Carolina in recent years, and that's something that obviously was not lost on the staff when they brought in Jakeen Harris, and it's something that hopefully he can help with, limit those big plays, and help Carolina's defense get to that next level. The overall grade of this class, I'm going to give it a B minus. Carolina did lose several pieces that will hurt, but then they replaced them. And while the talent level may not be the highest in this class, it was definitely it was definitely a solid overall class, and that's what made me give them the B minus. They added a quarterback to compete with Connor Hurl, which was all that we really wanted to do. They also brought in another QB in Jacoby Griswell, who I don't think very many people are talking about. His leadership will definitely help the quarterback room. So overall, this class gets a B minus for me, and that's the grade. That's the grade that I think it deserves. Some people may be saying, "Hey, this class just didn't. There wasn't any big splash in this class," and maybe there wasn't, but it was overall just a very solid class. A B minus is a solid grade, and therefore that is what I gave it. Thank you guys for watching this edition of Talkin Tar Heels. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, drop a comment if you'd like to let me know. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if I should talk about something maybe different on the next show. And we drop Saturday editions. So come back on next Saturday for the next edition of this show, and I will see you then.